You know, I came out of my mama a black woman. I did. And I never thought that I would be able to get certified in that. I have a story brand certification. I have a Nest Health certification, but I am actually an uncertified black woman. And you know what? It actually might be costing me money. Today's guest, Heather Cox, is talking all about diversity certifications, not only for race and ethnicity, but also for disability, LGBTQ, all of the different types of certification you can get as a business owner to take full advantage of all of the opportunities and revenue generation that is possible out there in the big bad world. If you have been toying with maybe getting a certification and have realized just how complicated and overwhelming it can be, then today, my friend, you can dive in with me and Heather as we learn all about the big bad world of diversity certification and how to get your hot little hands on one or more. Okay, let's go.
Welcome to the Flourishing Entrepreneur Podcast with Alea Harris. This is the place where you and your fellow empire-building entrepreneurs come to vanquish the burnout monster and boost your glow and cash flow with energy alignment techniques and tried and true marketing strategies. Since 7 figures won't get itself, hit that subscribe button and never miss out on your chance to skyrocket profits, tap into your intuition, and manifest your dreams. And now, your host, Powerhouse Story Brand Certified Guide, award-winning marketer, bioenergetic business coach, and Japanese whiskey lover, Alea Harris.
Okay, in that episode intro, I was joking sort of, but I truly am a non-certified black woman because often, we sit here and we say, okay, well, my entire life, I have had to work twice as hard to get half as much as anybody, most black people's parents or grandparents have had to tell them. And it is true, especially given the economic and social circumstances here in the United States. I never really thought about owning all of myself and actually realizing that the things that people have told me that are negative about myself because of their opinions or their need to control and manipulate are actually just other parts of myself to celebrate. Me being a black woman is amazing. I really like it. 10 out of 10 would recommend. It's one of those experiences that in this lifetime I get to fully embrace. But it hasn't always been that way. I went to private schools my whole life, and well, a lot of the times I was the only black woman or one of like two in a crowd. And often now as a professional, I am still often one of the only black women in the room, and it's always been like that for me. And in the beginning, I said, well, I can't wear my hair natural because what are they going to think? And they, of course, meant, well, white people, especially white men, because the white men held all the power at the table. And, oh, let me make sure that I dress like this or act like this or speak like that because I don't want to be black. Oh my gosh. How horrible would that be if I was black, right? That was what my thought process was. And at the same time, on the other side of my head, I loved being black, but I didn't feel like I could be it all the time, which is hilarious because if you're watching this video, you know what I look like when I walk down the street, people go, oh, look at the black chick. Like it's not something I can like take and put in my pocket. However, I still didn't really revel in it, and I used it as almost a disability rather than an asset of myself to celebrate. The older I've gotten and the more I realize that if I want to love myself, I have to love all of myself. I've kind of dove into, well, what does it mean for me to be black? Now, I'm not going to sit here on this podcast and give you a definition of blackness that fits everyone because it does not exist. Everyone's definition of themselves, their race, their ethnicity is often unique to them because it's how they experience it. How I experience life as a black woman is going to be very different than how the black woman next to me experiences life as a black woman. However, I embrace my melanated skin and black don't crack. Thank you very much. I joke around. People are always like, "You look so young." And I say it's the eye cream. And really what I should say, it's the melanin. I embrace that my hair has personality. I can do all kinds of things with it. And it curls and it straightens and it's big and it's small and it braids. And I love that. I embrace the timbre in my voice. I embrace my ancestors. I embrace where I come from. I embrace the legacy, good and bad, of being a Black woman. And I'm actually on one side, my dad's side, first generation American. So there's lots of things that I would be negating about myself if I did not embrace myself fully as a Black woman. Now, there are lots of things that you can't see. We're talking in this episode with Heather Cox, and she owns a company that helps people get diversity certified. It's called Certified My Company. You can go to certifymycompany.com. It's fabulous. And she talks about multiple different kinds of certifications, but one of them she talks about is a disability certification. And immediately I'm like, I'm not going to qualify for that. I'm fine. Everything's fine. It's all fine. And she goes, well, it's what the ADA considers disabled. And then, before we recorded or after, I don't remember, she was like, well, you actually might have a disability. And I said, well, I do have an autoimmune disease. I have Sjogren's disease. And one of the famous Williams sisters, tennis stars, has Sjogren's. And I remember looking up on Wikipedia just a couple of days ago. Well, Sjogren's is not that big of a deal. It attacks your salivary glands and, your eye glands. And yeah, you get joint inflammation. And yes, you can be tired and all this stuff. But, I'm an entrepreneur. I just figure it out and we push through. We take care of ourselves and we move on. And then I was reading that one of the Williams sisters has Sjogren's and she became a vegan. She took time off. It was like a thing. And I said, wow, she took this more seriously than I did. And I need to be able to take myself and my disability more seriously. And it's also why, like, sometimes on this, my beautiful podcast producers will often edit out me smacking, but it's because my throat is literally dry because my throat does not produce and my mouth doesn't produce the same amount of saliva because of my autoimmune disease. And that qualifies me to have a disability. But what do? I'm a speaker for a living. I have a podcast. I have spoken on 100 plus other people's podcasts. I don't let it slow me down, so I didn't think about it as being a disability. And I actually never even thought about mentioning it or talking about it because it's what's called a hidden disability, which now, after talking with Heather, who we're going to speak to in a little bit, I have to go look up what the heck that even really means and what that now means for how I present myself and what communities that I might even be a part of. But there are lots of parts of us that we don't celebrate. We might not even realize are there, or we, instead of celebrating them, allow them to pull us into victimhood. Because what I could do is tell this story. I'm a Black woman, it's hard out here in these streets, and I have an autoimmune disease. Well, that means I just can't really do much of anything. Guess my dreams are never going to happen. And I didn't do that. I didn't do that. Now, am I never playing the victim, never having a woe is me moment, never like, oh man, I really wish my eyes didn't feel like sandpaper across them, like when I woke up this morning. No, that definitely does happen. But I'm moving through it and using those experiences to either lift up other people, to lift up my own self when I need it, and to say, hey, I did it even with, and I did it also because of. Some of the times when I'm out there in the world, well, most of the time, you'll see me with some kind of big hair situation happening. Well, that'll happen because I was speaking one time, and I don't remember what stage I was on, but I was speaking on a stage somewhere. And when I got off the stage, a Black woman walked up to me and she said, "We can do that?" And I'm like, "Girl, what? We could do what?" She goes, "Your hair. We can do that? Like, that's a thing? We can be taken seriously and wear our hair just as it grows out of our heads?" And I'm like, well, yeah, they just paid me to be here. So I would say that that's a yes. And it's amazing how her eyes kind of lit up because it was not a possibility she thought was available to her as a Black woman, that she could embrace the way her hair grows out of her head. From that moment on, most of the time you'll see me with some type of natural hair. Now, will I never straighten my hair again? Nah, I'm not going to say that, because that's the beautiful thing about all this beautiful hair that I got and all of its curly glory, is that I can wear it however the heck I want to wear it. However, usually when I'm on stage and I know that there might even be one other Black woman out there who's going to see my hair and see what's possible, that she can be even just a little bit more of herself all the time. Oh, it's amazing. I wear my hair like that to help people understand that being your whole self at all the time is the best way to go. It's the best way to truly tap into your potential. Because if you're holding part of you back, you're spending a lot of energy withholding who you are behind yourself, and you're not able to celebrate it. You're not able to use it to inspire. You're not able to use it to say, I did this in spite of and with this, and including all of this. Wow, I am awesome. So, there are moments when I have felt like the things that make me quote unquote diverse, or I love how Alice says that. Alice is a grant opportunity website. It's lovely. You should check it out. Alice calls it the new majority as opposed to the minority. When you're part of that group, often you're underrepresented, often you're like, oh, well, I'm just going to power through. And even though I am part of the new majority, it won't hold me back. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Black women can do whatever the hell we want to do. And because I am a Black woman, I have the strength of being a Black woman. I have the grace. I have the newfound vulnerability that I hope a lot of my Black sisters can find in being a Black woman and not always having to be the strong Black woman, right? I have all of that working for me. So that's why I'm going to be a better entrepreneur than most. Using that to celebrate and reaching down into who you are and bringing it out into the forefront. Because of that, and because of my long-winded story, thank you for bearing with me. Today's mantra is I show up as all of me and reap all the blessings. I show up as all of me and reap all the blessings. I show up as all of me and reap all the blessings. Wow. Say it with me one more time. I show up as all of me and reap all the blessings. If you don't show up as all of you, you won't be able to get the benefits that come with it. If I didn't show up with my hair big and beautiful and curly and luscious, looking like a lion walking through the savannah, Sahara, whatever the desert is, if I didn't show up like that, that Black woman that one day would never have had that spark to show up more as her own self. And who knows how many other Black women out there who've seen me would have missed out on that as well. And I would have missed out on realizing the power that simple choices can have on the lives of yourself and other people's lives as well. So you can make the choice today to be just that much closer to all of you all the time. I encourage you, in fact, as you recalibrate what it means to be the whole you, pick one thing. What is one thing that you do that you will stop doing or will start doing that will allow you to be more authentically you? Is it the way you wear your hair? Is it the colors you wear for your clothing? Is it the way you speak? Is it the way you use exclamation points in emails? I don't know if it's happening to anybody else, but when I write an email, I usually have to remove at least 3 exclamation points before I send it, just so people don't think I'm crazy, right? You're like, put the exclamation marks in. If you're excited, just be excited. Whatever it is for you, what is the one thing that you can do or can stop doing that will allow you to be more authentically you? Do that today. Don't say, oh, yeah, I'm going to put it on the to do list and do it later and it'll never get done. Do that today. That one thing. And I promise you, it's like a snowball effect. You do that one thing, and then you start to do other things, and then you release the energy that you've spent holding on to who you are not. And you begin to use that energy to embrace who you are and to heal the past traumas that have caused you to think that you needed to be anybody else besides exactly who you are. So, again, I encourage you to show up as all of you so that you can reap all the blessings. Today, we're going to talk about one way to do that, especially if you're interested in either getting your diversity certification and or hiring suppliers with a diverse background. We're talking to Heather Cox. She's a dynamic speaker. She's a mother of 5, a wife. She's super fun. I really enjoy her. And she's also the president and co-founder of Certify, my company, where she teaches entrepreneurs how to make strategic decisions to choose and attract better clients, make more money, save time, and accelerate their success so that they can have the freedom to do exactly what they want. She helps match you with the perfect certification. And of course, she's a member of, has all of these certifications herself, including, the disability in certification. She's also a member of the Women Presidents Educational Organization, the Women Business and Enterprise National Council, the Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Nevada, the National Association of Women Business Owners, and the advisory board for Super Bowl, one of the Super Bowls. It's just like a lot. There's like a whole long list here that Heather has going on. She's incredibly accomplished and truthfully just a hoot. This is a really fantastic interview, and I can't wait for you to give it a listen right now.
This episode is brought to you by Strategy by Flourish Marketing. Most entrepreneurs are too close to their business to clearly communicate how they add value and stand out from the competition. Sometimes they even struggle to say what they do and offer. If you're confused, then your potential clients are confused, and confusion is a profit killer. That's why Flourish Marketing uses StoryBrand as the foundation for our products and services. The StoryBrand framework helps companies understand what their customers are looking for and how to position themselves to get those customers to pay attention. If you'd like help creating clear brand messaging for your marketing collateral, head to www.flourishmarketing.co/strategy and schedule a call today. You have only confusion to lose and money to gain. Visit www.flourishmarketing.co/strategy to get started.
I am so excited to have you. Thank you for joining us on the Flourishing Entrepreneur podcast. Before we dive in to this topic, which BT Dubs is on my 2022 plan, and basically this is kind of a selfish podcast episode because I plan on soaking up all of your brain gems so that I can get one step closer to one of my goals. Tell the people what it is that you do, what problem you solve out there in the world. That's amazing and very clear. Thank you very much for that. So eloquent, Heather, Heather, Heather. So you emphasize something that's the word right. You said the right certification. And before 2 minutes ago, I didn't know there was a wrong certification. And by the way, if any of you have tried out there in the big bad world to get certified, it is one of the most confusing processes ever. It's not straightforward. You don't know where to go. There's a website that tells you one thing, then there's another website that tells you the exact opposite. So what did you mean by the right certification?
So, depending on who you are currently doing business with and who you want to do business with, will determine which certification will best impact your business. And that's what I mean by right, like what you're going to get the most bang for your buck from, right? Because you could spend your entire life and your entire bank account getting certified. It's not the strategy we recommend for our clients. We try to be a little bit more strategic about finding the certification that they will get a better ROI from. So it depends who you are doing business with. Like if your business is predominantly state, then private sector may not be the best certification for you. But if you have, differentiation, if you have, some of it's here, some of it's there, then you want to make sure you're getting the right certifications that you will see results from.
And what are these results we should be looking for? So we get our big bad certification. It is the right certification. And then what? We become millionaires? Is that how that works? Is it a direct line to millionaireship?
Some certifications will then kick you out. So, that's why they're not all my favorites either.
Oh, they kick you out for having money? That seems counterintuitive.
I know. It's one of my biggest frustrations, and you can guess which certifications do that. It's not the private sector. So, okay. So there's a few different ways you can look at the ROI, right? So most people go into it for business development. They want more contracts. They want to make more money. Those are all great reasons to get certified because yes, it is a fantastic door opener. It is a fantastic tip the scales in your favor, all else being equal. Okay. All those different pieces of it. But some of the certifications also give you unbelievable company development opportunities. What do I mean by that? Mentorship programs, pitch competitions, executive learning programs. So like, for example, I got a scholarship to attend the Tuck Business School. They paid all my expenses. Yes.
Oh my
because
God.
I'm a certified diverse supplier. So yes, my contracts are amazing. They pay the bills. They feed my kids. But the company development makes me a better business owner, a better leader for my team.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay. So first of all, this is why I said it was a selfish episode because I have been wanting to certify as a women-owned business and a minority-owned business. Or I saw somewhere it said a new majority-owned business.
I just saw that. Honestly, was it Hey Alice or whatever? I just saw that today. Yes, I was filling out a grant thing and I was like, new majority. Look at us.
Okay. It made me feel much better. But regardless of what you call, I'm the black girl over here that's trying to figure out the certifications. And it, like I said, is very confusing. And a lot of the times when people are trying to roll through, whether it's trying to figure out certifications, whether it's trying to figure out how to read a P&L, which I guess if you had got certified and they sent you to the Tuck Business School and they paid for that, you would also know how to read a P&L. There's a lot of things, big and small, about entrepreneurship that can be overwhelming, right? That can lead you to be out of alignment. You're doing all the things, and which means that really, if we're honest, we're doing
You
nothing.
do nothing.
So what techniques or tools have you used to avoid burnout and stay in alignment personally and professionally as you've been also helping other people, sounds like, do the same through certifications?
So I wish I could say I'm an expert on that, but I'm totally not. I still get burnt out. My kids are like, uh-oh, stay away from mommy. She's losing it a little bit. But I will say I outsource everything that does not need me. If it doesn't need me, I outsource it. And I will tell you that includes lice checks because all 5 kids got lice at the exact same time a couple of years ago. And I was like, lice lady, please come over. That does not require my attention.
There's a lice lady?
Oh, yes. Game changer, too.
Oh,
yes, I know.
wow.
So, yeah. So,
You
I
really
mean,
can outsource almost
I
everything.
outsource everything, right? We outsource our CFO. We outsource our bookkeeping. We also, anything that does not.
Well, accounting was the first thing.
Yes,
Bookkeeping
yes.
was second. I just got an amazing CFO who was a guest on the podcast already,
good.
Michelle Loretta. Fabulous. I'm
good.
right there with you. Right there with you.
You have to outsource because we just don't have enough time. And so, like, for me, the part that I love about the business is talking to people about certification and educating them. And I love when entrepreneurs are like, oh, so you like write grants? I'm like, oh, we're gonna have a conversation. And not at all.
Wait a minute. How do they get, I help you get certifications to I write grants?
Because people assume certification means government work, and then they automatically takes them to grants all the time. I know it's all the time though it happens.
Gotcha.
So, and I love the speaking and the selling and the strategizing. Like that is where my passion is and what I'm really good at, right? So I don't need to be in the office filling out paperwork. I don't need to be in the office trying to figure out the books because you know what? It's not going to be done right, first of all. And then it's going to, I always tell people all the time, if you don't have the time or money to do it once, you definitely don't have the time or money to do it twice. So
That's really
outsource
good
it the
advice.
first time.
That's really good advice, especially when it comes to your books, because bookkeeping is all fun and games until tax season comes around.
Until it's not fun and games, exactly.
Until you're like,
Yes.
I have no idea how much money I made.
Yeah.
Probably should have been keeping better books.
Yeah, no, I mean, even the things about like how much your services cost, right? Like you would think like how do you figure that out, right? So this is something that the Tuck School or the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses, which I'm doing in the spring, by the way, 10,000 Small Businesses. Yeah, I'm a huge proponent of learn as much as you can. Always be the dumbest person in the room, the least successful person in the room, because I want to be like, I hang with the cool kids for a reason.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Teach me what you know.
Yes, teach me all your tricks and all your knowledge. So, if you don't know how to figure that out, so it's so impossible. So that's why you have to outsource it and find these mentors. And so, yeah, I outsource everything I could. I mean, someone's like, you didn't make your own website. I'm like, no, because it would look like I made my own website. And by the time I add up my billable, what I charge per hour, I could have paid, it would have been ridiculous. So yeah, outsource. Outsource.
That's really great advice. I think that a lot of people don't realize that is actually a skill, not only for productivity, but for emotional, mental capacity, emotional stability.
Yes.
And it's a money-making tool.
100%. People think they're spending money.
Yes. Right. Somebody could be doing your books right now, for all we know.
Right.
You're not. You're here.
But I'm selling
on a podcast.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. So I love that you said that. So now let's dig in a little bit more into what you were talking about, your actual meat and potatoes of your day-to-day, which are these yummy certifications. And you get people probably just like me who are really, really confused about the whole thing. What are 3 tips you would give my listeners, mostly me, my listeners though, for sure, about certifications that would help them scale and do it in a little bit more easy of a way with more clarity?
Okay, first of all, just outsource it. Just be done with it and outsource it. That'd be tip number 1. Just don't try to do it all.
Number 1. Also, tip number 1 is outsource.
Outsource it. Okay. Also, use someone who understands that there's different types of certifications out there, as we spoke about before. If you want to do business with Target, they don't care about the state of New Jersey or the state of New York certification. They care about what I call the big 5: WeBank, NMSDC, NGLCC, and VBDC. And yes, I talk in acronyms, and Disability N. And so you want to make sure you're getting those right ones. Then you have to know how to use it. It is a tool. And just like any other tool, it is only as good as if you know how to use it. Even Thor had to learn how to use his hammer. Okay. Yes, I have boys at home and a nerd of a husband. So
that is okay. I just finished watching Shang-Chi on Disney Plus, and I'm totally a Marvel buff as well. So do continue.
Yeah. So it's like, or I had a gym analogy I told you earlier, right? That no one just shows up to the gym, but once you do go, you have to know how to use those machines. And it's not just the machines though. It's also like the food that you eat, like everything goes together. The same with certification. It's not just putting the logo, I'm certified business card here. It's not just putting the logo on the back of your business card or on your website. You have to just decide, like, how are you going to reach out to them? Who cares about the certification? Which conferences and events will be most effective for your business, right? So those are the pieces that you have to know once you get your certificate. Because I can't tell you how many people would say to me, like, Heather, I'm not renewing my certification. Because you have to do it every year for most certifications. Every year recertification.
So this is a yearly commitment we're making then.
Except the yearly one is much less of a commitment, right? And then some of them are every other year. And then like some of the state ones are every 3 to 5 years, which to me is mind boggling because you know how much changes in 3 to 5 years? Like,
yeah, that's
technically you're supposed to tell them within 30 days of a change, but do you remember who remembers to do that stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So yeah, so that's what, so you have to figure out, how you're really going to leverage these certifications, or they're just a piece of paper on the wall.
Yeah. So let's say that you I don't know, are a marketing company.
Oh, let's hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
Yeah.
And you work for it's private sector then, right?
Okay.
So what would be a certification? Like, give me just like one, and then what would this hypothetical marketing business owner use this for?
Okay. So first of all, if this hypothetical business owner qualifies for more than one certification, I would tell them to get more than one certification because, and that is why the benefit of like, when I go through it, people think I'm nuts. Like my husband sees me in bars and I'm like, oh, you're an entrepreneur? Are you a veteran? Do you have any disabilities? Are you gay? Like I was like, you're getting punched in the face. Like, are you a minority? Like maybe you're Hispanic. I don't know. Like my husband's like, you are going to get punched in the face one day if you did not stop asking people these super inappropriate questions. It's part of my charm. So, well, my business partners like crack up at me. They're like, only Heather would be like, are you sure you don't have a disability? I bet you know.
I bet you do. Have you looked hard enough?
I bet you know. So, I mean, I would say like, okay, so let's say this hypothetical marketing company is a Black female entrepreneur. We'll just throw it out there.
That seems so specific.
So I would tell her to get WBENC, which is the Women's Business Enterprise National Council, and NMSDC, which is the National Minority Supplier Development Council, okay? Because that way you can leverage both sides. Because companies, private sector, cannot double dip. They can't say, oh, we're counting her here twice, but they can move you. So let's say, for example, they're doing their reports and they're like, oh, we have like done so much women-owned business. We are rock stars, but ooh, we need some more ethnic minorities. They can take you and move you here. So for example, Certify My Company is WBENC and Disability in Certified. So we are certified as a woman and disability owned company. People don't even ask me for my WBENC. They only want my disability certification because that's the one that they have the least amount of suppliers for.
Oh,
so that is very valuable to them because they have internally set goals or externally set goals from clients. So they need to make sure that they're fulfilling those goals. So I am extra beneficial if I can be moved to whatever bucket they need me in.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. And it saves them from them like, oh, well, we can't even use Heather's company anymore. We can't use my company anymore. But we just did all this research. We know Heather. We like Heather. Oh, now we got to go with somebody else. Yeah. And then that's just a sad day for them and a sad day for Heather's company.
For sure. Yeah. So I always like trying to figure out like what ways. And I will say like, you know, LGBT people are like, oh, but I don't want to get business because I'm a woman-owned business or because I'm a Hispanic-owned business or a Black-owned business. I'm like, okay.
There's been many years where you haven't gotten that business because you're a women-owned business or a Black-owned business or Hispanic-owned business. Make it work in your favor, honey.
100%. Yes.
Sorry.
But I also tell you, you will never get the business just because you're a woman-owned or a Black-owned or Hispanic-owned or LGBT-owned, okay? You have to be just as good and just as competitively priced and just as capable as everybody else out there. And then your diversity status will do you like tip in your favors.
Or even better, as everybody's grandparents have probably told them, especially black people. It's like you have to be twice as good to get half as much. That 100%. Type of added, right? Now, whether you subscribe to that or not, I kind of do because I've seen it in my daily life. But
I know one of my favorite stories. So you have to prove you're Black. I don't know if you've looked at your birth certificate, but you're probably not old enough that's going to say your race on it. I'm not joking, by the way.
I have to look. I don't know if my birth
certificate doesn't say it, right? Unless you were born in like Mississippi, right? Then it probably says it. But the rest of the country,
California.
Definitely not. And the crazy part about
like, we respect your spiritual being in this body. That's probably what my birth certificate says.
Right, yeah. We're gonna let her choose when she's older. But no, so most people, I say like 40 and under like 50 and under do not have race on their birth certificate, right? So one of my clients, she was a Black woman of business, and she said, my mom doesn't have it. Can you call my dad? He's giving me a hard time. I was like, sure, I'll call him. So I call him up. I'm like, hey, this is Heather from Certify My Company. I'm working with your daughter to get her certified. And can I get a copy of your birth certificate? I need to see if it lists your race. And he's like, my, how things have changed. You making me prove to you I'm Black now? And I said,
that's a very good question that I do have. So, like, my birth certificate, I
probably doesn't, but
I am 35. So my birth certificate
for sure does
not have my race on it. So then, when you're going to register as a Black-owned, minority-owned company, how do they check? You have to send in a picture, and then even if they do a picture of my mom in, they would be like, I mean, I guess she's Black.
Okay, yeah, so that's what happened. So do you know our friend Rachel Dolinger or whatever her name is?
Yeah, exactly.
She ruined it for everybody. That girl ruined it for everybody, okay? Because they used to just kind of take your word for it. You could like have have like your pastor write a letter or something, whatever. Not anymore, right? Because she was like, yeah, I'm Black. Like, yeah,
No, you're
well,
not.
you're not actually.
Even your parents say you're not, so you're really not.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah. So let's say yours doesn't, but maybe your mom's does, or if you have a parental death certificate, or your grandparents, right? You can only go back to the grandparent generation because you have to be a quarter ethnic minority to qualify.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, but let's say, for example, yours doesn't and your mom's doesn't, and you're like, well,
Yeah, then what do you do?
so then you got to get creative, and then we have to start thinking of alternative options to prove. But there's like
But you
marriage
can't
certificates.
send in a picture.
Pictures do not qualify. Oh, here's me another crazy story. I have so many crazy stories.
Yeah, please do tell me a crazy story.
This was it was a state certification, and the state told this guy he wasn't black enough.
That feels like a lawsuit waiting to happen.
I said, "You're joking." I'm like, no one told you that. He's like, "Oh, they told me." He's like, "I sent in a picture. They said you're not black enough." I was like, "Oh, did you go down there? Those are like fighting words." I know I do have a weird job. I understand that I talk about stuff in a way that most people would cringe at. So I do want to just like put that out there. I understand that I talk about things in a way because this is what I do all day long. I have to
All
talk
day
about these
long.
things all day long, right? So it's
Wow.
kind of
So
like, you go to your doctor and they're like, whatever. I'm not thinking about these kind of like sensitive
right.
topics as well.
Just like going to your gynecologist and you're like, they're like,
it's an elbow, whatever.
Today. It's fine. You're just fine. Oh my God, this is so fascinating to me that you have to, because it says your gender that you're assigned at birth on your birth certificate. What if you are transgender? How do you
have to have documentation? You have documentation to prove from physicians different throughout the process. There's documentation to prove that you've transitioned from one gender to another.
And then they would accept your new gender.
Yeah, same with non-binary. If you identify as non-binary, you can also be certified as an LGBT-owned business.
Nice. Wait a minute. That means that they actually it's easier to prove that I am non-binary than it is to prove that I am black?
100%. Listen. I don't make the rules, people. I do not make the rules. Let me be clear.
Wow. You have a very interesting job, Heather Cox.
Oh my goodness, I know. It's
okay, during all of this, you were talking about this one dude, right? You know, how he was not black enough, which I do believe might have been fighting words. Should it have been said directly to me? There's lots of things that I'm sure stories that you can tell that would just make you a little riled up. So how do you kind of preserve your peace and protect your energy when either you're dealing with situations like that or your business is growing? What are some techniques that you use to do that? Because it sounds like you have a lot of moments where you need to do that.
Yeah. So first of all, it's very important to keep a sense of humor about it. And I always start out every client relationship with, look, this is going to be a weird process. I understand that. So just take it with a grain of salt. Do not apply logic to it. Just be like a little zen as you can.
You said do not apply logic to it.
Do not apply logic to it. Mm-mm. That is one thing. Now for my personal self, I go to the gym almost every day, either in my house or at the gym, mostly so I don't just randomly punch people in the face as during my daily life.
Got it. Yeah. Gym as public service. Got it.
Yeah, it's just aggression. You got to get it out. And I have a lot of kids and they're stressful. And so
how many kids do you have?
5 of them, 13 to 4.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of kids.
So, we definitely, and some of them are spicier than others. We'll put it that way.
Heather, I have no idea where they would have gotten that spicy. I mean, we are only just a little bit here into this interview. I can already tell. I'm just gonna call you tikka masala. Of all the spiciness there. Ghost pepper. Heather, ghost pepper.
Ghost pepper. Yeah.
I love it. So the gym and a sense of humor gets you through.
For sure. You have to. Yes.
You have to find your thing that makes it all be put into perspective.
Yeah.
A little bit, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, and you've done so much. You've, built two businesses or more? How many businesses have you built?
So I have my Certify My Company, which is the top logo, and we have
Yeah.
Diversity Masterminds, which is the lower logo. And I also have another JV with 2 other certified diverse suppliers it's called Supplier Diversity in a Box. So it's for that mid-level company. They're not a Fortune 1000, but they're larger than, a couple million, tens of millions of dollars. They're probably in the high millions to small billions, right, in revenue. And they
small billions,
and they
billions, just a couple of billions.
Yeah. And but they need a supplier diversity program because their clients, like, their pharma clients, their whoever clients are saying, hey, we need you to report your spend to us. Right. So, and they're like, so we have an off the shelf supplier diversity program that we create for them. And it's done virtually. It was before COVID made virtual cool. We had it virtual.
And cool before COVID made it cool. Got it.
I say that about my twins too. I'm like, I had twins before Beyonce made it cool, people. Like,
That's awesome.
So yes, it's an off-the-shelf supplier diversity program, and that's my other company that we work on also. So they all fit together, right? I'm not doing like plastic molding over here, and then like they're all within the supplier diversity niche, right?
That's great and really smart. I like that you're going with where the problem is. You're following the money, following the problem, and just honing in, still doing what you're doing. So you get that crossover. That makes a lot of sense. And so in your 3 companies you have now, think back in time, Heather, a year after starting company number 1.
Oh my gosh.
What is the one piece of advice you would give to that past self, the version of you who existed about a year after starting that first business?
Well, I think you know what the first one's going to be. I would have outsourced sooner.
I'm noticing a theme. Is it outsourcing? Is that what you said? Was it to outsource?
Outsourcing, yeah. Because I think most entrepreneurs were like, we could do it. Like, we're resourceful, we're smart, like, we got all this. And so we don't realize what we talked about before. Like, we don't realize exactly what you're missing by not outsourcing. So I for sure would have outsourced sooner, and I would have made my first hire sooner. Again, I would have made my first hire sooner because I was then freed up to do so many of the other bigger picture things, right? So like right now we are, please God, it's going to work, hiring a certification manager that will take me 100% or 99% out of the day-to-day. And then my whole component will be sales and strategy and speaking and being out there talking about certification, because when I'm still always, maybe because I drank the Kool-Aid and I swim in it all day long, but like the amount of people who have no idea about diversity certification or what the benefits are. Right. So between those pieces,
that's why we started off with the basics in the beginning of the interview, because I knew what the certification was, but I didn't know where to get them, why to get them. And it was like, oh, you're a Black woman, you should be certified in that. I'm like, my birth didn't certify me as a Black woman.
It did not, actually, right?
Did not. And I can't even use my birth to prove that
I know. Well, that you're a woman, that we can prove with your birth certificate, but not that you're Black. The fact that you're Black is still up in the air. We're still not sure.
My goodness. So you would have outsourced sooner and you would have
hired
sooner. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those are 2 of the things that I did from the very beginning. Not hiring, outsourcing. Yeah, but I had to do it because I was working another job at the same time. There's just no way.
Right.
And I think that I would have even accelerated that a little bit faster.
Yes.
Because even now, I'm an entrepreneur that's like, ooh, but there's this other thing over here.
I know.
Shiny. And I have my team, they are allowed to say, no, we're not doing that.
Right.
Or I love our social media manager, Erica. She has a whole, she created this list in our project management software that she goes, you can put your ideas here, nowhere else.
And then we'll pretend to read them. Right. I know.
And here.
My team's always like, Heather went to a conference this week. She's going to come back and there's going to be all kinds of stuff. She's got all these shiny new things in her pocket. Oh no. And they all brace themselves. They're like, yeah.
Hey, at least they know. It keeps it fun and exciting.
And I send them gifts. I send them lots of diverse owned booze all the time. So they're cool.
They're good. Booze is good. Booze is good.
Food.
Okay. So now we've gotten to the part of the interview where we're going to talk about the journal prompt question.
Okay.
And the journal prompt question for all of you listeners out there is the question that you can take back and journal on your own, have some time to reflect, being like, am I a Black woman or not? I don't
We're
know.
not sure. Right?
I'm not sure now that my birth certificate doesn't say it. No, that is not the
Oh, wait,
journal
you are going to get so many comments about that.
Probably. I'm going to send them right to you.
Yeah, just send them over. It's fine.
So with that, Heather, are you ready for the journal prompt question?
I can't wait.
If your highest self were to tell you right now what you were missing out on in life, what would it be?
Okay, so missing out on in life. I think that, people talk about they want financial freedom, but I really want time freedom, like to just focus. Like I finally got to the point where most Fridays I just don't work. Like Friday's a short day for my kids at school. One of my kids is like a gazillion therapies a week. So like that is the day that if I need to get my eyelashes done or I got to get something done, like that is the day, right? But that is a huge, but that's not all the time. So the time freedom, which kind of gets tied into the financial freedom, I guess, is really the thing that I wish that I'm always striving for, because that way really like all my passion projects, even though my whole companies are all my passion projects, but there's other passion projects. Like I would really love to be more involved with like Shelter Our Sisters or getting women who have suffered abuse back into the workforce so they can feel empowered and they can take care of themselves, right? Because so much a part of that is somebody telling them you're not worth it, you're not good enough, you can't ever get a job. So if I could get out there and I can help them, I can build them, I can clothe them, whatever it is, just like help build that confidence, to me, like that would be, I would love it, right? So those are the kind of things that I think that time freedom would allow me to really focus on, of those passion projects.
I love that. And I like how your time freedom is about some of the most important things that I think of. It's yourself and helping other people, right? Because a lot of people, I think, get caught up in the entrepreneurial grind, and we're like, well, money, 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 money. And then you get super successful and you sit on a pile of money, sucking your thumbs to make more money. And it's like, no.
What's the point?
That's not what this is all about, right? And then what am I going to do with this? Or they're like your passion is your business, so I'm just going to sit and do my business all day, when really there's more to life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, it does trickle down. Like it's a Target run with me and the kids. It's hysterical because they're like, Mommy, it's women owned. Can we have it? I'm like, it's still candy. No.
Nice try. But
nice try though. Oh, yeah.
Awesome. I love how your kids know you so well.
Seriously. Or they're like, I'll bring home some wine. They're like, is it women owned wine, Mommy? Is it women owned?
You're like, I don't know, but this is wine, and this is what I need to have like at least 20 minutes away from you. Yeah. So whether it's women owned or not, as a woman, I will own it as being.
I will own it. Right. Did you know, by the way?
I bought it.
Did you know, by the way, that pre-pandemic, it's probably higher now, women made up of 75% of all wine purchases?
Pre-pandemic or post-pandemic?
Yeah, pre. Post is probably like 80, 85, 87, but
I did not know.
I didn't know that either. I know. I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. And I mean, I guess like we go wine tasting every year as a family. And it is mostly women. We were on a wine trolley this year. There was ended up also being kind of like a party bus situation. It was like music and there was dancing.
Ooh.
It was amazing. It was like the best of both worlds. But yes.
Like, count me in.
Yeah, I was like, come on, Heather. You want to come to the Bay Area for the holidays? Yeah.
Well, and there's some great women and minority-owned wineries up there, so you should hit them up.
Absolutely.
Right?
My mom's a member. I'm not a member of Brown because it's the only Black-owned estate winery in Napa. I'm not a member because I steal her wine. Thank you, Mommy, and thank you, Brown. Yes. But they're delicious. So yes.
There's like Black Vines, there's longevity wine, there's
we did longevity and Livermore as well.
So
yes.
Phil, he's a client. We got him certified.
See, look at that. And if it makes you feel better, if you did not know, it does have a certification on his tasting menu. I did.
Oh, good. See,
look, he's putting it to use, Heather.
Good.
I'm sure you probably told him to do that.
He's the nicest teddy bear you'll ever meet in your life. He looks like this big brute, but he's like the nicest teddy bear ever.
Oh, see, there we go. You have nice clients. You're able to work in your passion. Your kids are very aware of what you do, and I'm sure that that will inform their future purchasing habits. You're doing good things all around, Heather. I love it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I
Thank
love
you.
it. So, if people want more of the Heather Cox goodness, if
Yeah.
they're like, I am Black, I will figure out how to prove it to you.
I will prove it to you.
I will prove it to you. Sign me up on how I can get certified. Where are all of the places that they can get in touch with you?
So all of our social is at Certify My Co. across the board. And then there's Div Masterminds for diversity masterminds. And then the email is just heather@certifymycompany.com.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here so much. I am definitely going to be talking to you about how to prove I am Black so I can get the right certification. And I encourage everybody else to also give Heather a call. A lot of the times we don't take advantage. We've been so used to being told that being a woman or being a minority, being a LGBTQ is a disadvantage, that we don't take advantage of what we actually have really readily available to us to help ourselves grow our businesses. So thank you for helping us do that, Heather.
Of course. We're all about helping people make more money. That's the plan.
Love it. Love it.
This episode is brought to you by Followers to Dollars Social Media Management by Flourish Marketing. Today is the day you stop stressing about social media. Instead of worrying about what to post, how to get more business from your Instagram account, or keeping up with the never-ending algorithm changes, outsource your social media to Flourish Marketing. Our team of expert copywriters uses the StoryBrand SB7 framework to create highly converting, strategic social media content that will grow your business. Plus, we schedule it for you so you don't have to lift a finger. Not only do we help create white space on your calendar by taking social media off your plate, but we also use data and analytics to get results. One of our clients, Tamari, said, I've tried several other social media managers in the past, and Flourish Marketing has done the best at delivering real, on-brand, engaging content that my followers are responding to. If you want to join the ranks of our happy clientele, visit www.flourishmarketing.co/social-media and click Schedule a Call today. Did you know that it takes over 20 hours to produce a month's worth of winning content? Think about all the ways you could spend that time. Don't waste another moment. Reclaim your time by heading over to www.flourishmarketing.co/social-media right now.
Isn't Heather amazing? And aren't you now trying to figure out how many certifications you can get? I know I am. I'm like, what else am I? I know I'm Black, whether I can prove it or not. And I know I'm a woman. I can prove that one. What else do I got going on with me, and how will this be able to benefit my business? I also love that Heather talked about outsourcing. Outsource everything. Outsource everything that is not in your zone of genius. And we've talked about that here on this podcast before, but it definitely bears repeating. Also, keep in mind that there are different types of certifications, but you should be getting the certifications that your clients care about the most, not just any old certification. And you need to be able to use your certifications once you have them. I thought it was just like you get certified, you pop it on your website, and then, like manna from heaven, money just falls on you. Apparently, it does not work that way. You have to use your certifications and participate. And above all, when it comes to certifications or just life and business entrepreneurship in general, Heather says, and I agree with her, that you want to make sure you keep that good old sense of humor. If you've learned nothing else, a sense of humor will get you by with most things, including, hopefully, you got a couple of giggles from this episode. All right. Well, until next Wednesday, my name is Alea Harris. This is the Flourishing Entrepreneur Podcast, and we will see you soon.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Flourishing Entrepreneur Podcast with Alea Harris. Dive into the show notes at www.flourishmarketing.co/podcast and connect with Alea at Flourishing Entrepreneur on Instagram. Vibing with what you hear? Leave a 5-star review to spread the love, and be sure to click subscribe. From the entire Flourish Marketing team, We wish you love, light, and abundance. See you next time.